Good morning, mi gente. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Apron. I'm your host, Cassie.
And I'm Manny.
And today we are back with an amazing episode. If you listened to last week's episode, then you know what the topic is about today or who we are actually interviewing. We're going behind the apron with Teagan Stewart. She is the one behind the viral TikTok video that we were recapping last week. She is going a little deeper into what really happened, giving a little bit more insight, answering any of our questions, and kind of clearing up
anything left unsaid.
Yeah, she's basically leaving it all on the table. And we had a very great interview with her, right, babe?
Yeah, it was very fun, actually.
She is the nicest human being. I'm so thankful for her for giving us the time of day and giving us this opportunity. She did give us a little inside scoop at the end, and I'm kind of excited for her. I'm actually truly like championing her. So it's going to be a great episode. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, don't forget to listen to it. It's a little bit of a recap. We were deep diving into the viral video, kind of breaking it down in the eyes of, veteran food service industry workers. And so us as servers, we have a little bit more of not an input, but we have our opinion. What did you think, babe? You actually still, now that I think about it, when she was talking about her boyfriend like still not seeing the video, I was like, you know what? Manny still hasn't seen the video, right?
No, I only heard it when you played it on the episode.
When I was kind of recapping it, yeah.
I mean, it was very fun. She definitely, if you're a server or if you worked in the service industry, some of these things, you're going to hear them and just it's going to instantly bring you back to a certain moment or point in time when you were a server. And the things we talk about just definitely hit a bone or hit a nerve that you can go to the exact moment, date, and time that something happened that just triggered you. You're like, yeah, I definitely understand where she's coming from or what she's feeling.
We made a very good point while we were interviewing her that it doesn't matter where you are around the world. If you are a food service employee, if you're a food service veteran, whatever the case is, then you know what we're talking about. There's always going to be something that we can relate to. There's always going to be that one manager, that one shift, that one coworker that we can all relate to and have that. How do I say it? We can relate to so many of the same exact stories that happen 1,000 miles away from each other. So I hope you guys had a great Father's Day, babe. Happy Father's Day to every single one of you out there, all the fathers out there that step up and show out. We truly appreciate you. And yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, guys, pull up a chair, pour up a drink. It's going to be a good one. So how have you been? How's life been for you?
It's been great. It's kind of been the two craziest weeks of my life. I mean, not just from the TikTok, but that's a big part of it. And just everything kind of happening at the same time, which I'm sure we'll get into, but having to quit before I was fired, so many of my coworkers reaching out to me and basically saying congrats and we're proud of you.
That's good.
Just telling me all these stories that I'm like, I don't know if I should know this stuff.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that part. Okay, so Teagan, welcome to Behind the Apron podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. You have no idea. I honestly, when we did the podcast last week, I had seen your video. I think I don't even know if I saw your video the day you posted it or a few days after, and I saved it and I was like, I'm going to talk about that on the podcast. And then when I was telling Manny about it last week, I was like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to her. This is insane the way this all happened. And we recorded the podcast, just recapping your video, from the bits and pieces that you shared. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a shot in the dark. I'm going to message her. And I'm so happy that you responded because this is exactly what this podcast is about. It's for these stories that people, if you're not on this side of the apron and if you're not clocked in, you're never going to understand what really happens, because the story that happened with you, there are so many other people that can relate to it and that have similar or more unhinged stories that people as guests, if you've never worked in the industry, you would never believe would happen.
Yes, it's crazy.
It truly is
crazy. And I think that is why the video ultimately went viral, is because unfortunately so many people have very similar stories, and a ton of comments were like, this triggered my PTSD. I served 20 years ago. It's been 15 years since I like
walked
served a
away.
table, and like this put me right back there. And that kind of sucks that so many people can relate to it. But also, like, I think it's cool that because of the position that I was in, that it was already my part-time job, and that I got to a point where I didn't care anymore, that, you know, it's like most people can't tell these stories because they will get fired and they want to keep that job. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I'll take one for the team.
Heck yeah. So I've seen a little bit of your videos, and I know that you're like a music artist too. And so you're not from Nashville. Are you from Tennessee?
No, I'm from New Mexico.
Oh my God. So you're kind of close to where we're from. We're in Texas.
Yeah, definitely. I'm from Albuquerque.
Oh,
so
how cool.
Yeah.
So Nashville, so your music career is what took you to Nashville.
Yes.
Have you ever served before?
No.
So was this your first job? Like your first serving job?
It was not. I worked as a host for a few years, which, guys, host is the trenches, dude.
Yeah.
Because when you're a server, at least you can, you know, give people what they want, which is food. And when you're a host, if anything's wrong, you have nothing to offer them, and they look down on you the most. So I was in the trenches as a host, and then I worked a few different places. Most of them have always been a bit upscale, but I have also worked at like Frothy Monkey, which is a big like coffee and food chain in Nashville, but now now it used to be counter service, but now it's fully like sit down service. So I've worked a few different places, but this hotel is where I guess I've worked the longest. I've worked there full time for about a year, and then I was in this like part-time situation for like 2 years.
Wow.
And I told myself, if either my favorite chef left or got fired, and or if shit ever hit the fan and I was like, this is just like not it for me anymore, I would leave. And 2 weeks before this incident, my favorite chef, I actually don't know if he left or he was fired, but he was just done. And I was like, well,
this is my sign.
This is my sign.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, that's awesome. It's good that you have that background. You can't, like, your story isn't just like singular, and it's not pointed to one location. This isn't the only place in hospitality that you've worked at. So you have other places that you can reference it to, and you're like, okay, this is not supposed to happen.
Right. Yes. I have other stories of a guest getting unhinged and management failing, but not. Yeah, I have a lot of I've been putting it off, but I'm planning to just kind of like tell all of those stories individually on TikTok.
So how has your life been since the TikTok went viral?
I guess to start, like, I was obviously, you can see in the TikTok, I was so angry.
Yeah.
And I think that's,
and I don't blame you.
That's how the best storytelling comes out, because I think if it had been handled differently by management, or if they hadn't been comped, or if something would have been different, I wouldn't have been mad enough to post it, knowing that like something might come back to bite me. But I was so angry that I was like, and I fucking hope a ton of people see this. And I texted my boyfriend and I was like, please like and comment. So get it all out. Which in the end didn't matter.
The algorithm.
And when when you first start to see something do numbers, you're kind of like, okay, well, surely at 200,000 or 300,000, the comments will either turn on me, or people will say everything they want to say, and everything will kind of drop off. When it hit to 1 million and it was like picking up instead of slowing down, that's when I was like, oh shit, like this might come back to my workplace. Like, because before that I was like, there's no way. But then now it's at 5 million. So now it's really slowed down. It's kind of, it's a trickle, but it hit 5 million before that happened.
That's
and
awesome.
It's almost 500,000 likes. So then, as we know, or for the podcast folks who maybe don't know, a woman identified herself as Jill, as one of the quote lovely ladies at the table, and you can't see her comment anymore, but because she deleted it. But the comment was basically like, all I'm hearing is excuses for why we didn't get the exceptional service we deserve. I appreciate that your manager tried to make it right, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. I'll be giving your manager a call. Good luck.
Oh my gosh. So threatening you in your own comments.
Literally. And it was the best possible scenario it could have been for me, because there was no last name, there's no picture. So it's not like I'm not bringing upon harassment to anybody. First of all, that's her choice, but like I didn't out anybody. But when the comment first landed, people are ratioing her in the comments of like, hope you have the day you deserve. Why do you treat people? People are going off.
Oh my gosh.
But then someone was like, thinking like, what if they're thinking I posted it for attention, or like thinking it's not real. But the confirmation is that she did call the man. That is how they found out, because think of how many million, like, I'm really not that friends with that many people, like, especially on TikTok. My TikTok was super small. No one's seeing it. So that was definitely her. And then she did end up deleting the comment. But the follow-up video of me referencing her comment and being like, look, guys, this is who it is. She wants to own up to her behavior. That has like 600,000 views. And that was a whole conversation starter. So basically then what happens, which I talked to about a little bit, is that by the end of the week is when I got a call from HR. And I started to record that call. I didn't end up recording all of it. And I watched it back. And the part that I stopped it before it got interesting, unfortunately. So then I'm like, I guess I'm not going to use this for anything. But, they were basically like, it's come to our attention. We have this video. They were like, we can't believe that you called the guests those names. I like just the words coming out of your mouth were just shocking and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, obviously I didn't think a lot of people were going to see this, but also like no one knows where I work.
Yeah.
No one knows who these people are. Like no one knows anything about you guys. And, it was just this back and forth where they were like, well, we're going to suspend you and we're going to take statements from you and everyone who, I'm sure not the guests, but the managers and the people involved.
Yeah.
And then we'll put it up to corporate. And then in 3 to 5 business days, basically we'll let you know if you're fired. And they basically wanted to know, like, are you going to take down the video? We're asking you to. And I just kind of played dumb and was like, I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I don't know.
Good.
And I said, okay, because I restated calmly kind of everything that, and more details that I didn't have time to put in the video. Like another table was like, what the fuck is this? Are you okay? That's embarrassing for you guys as a hotel, that now other people are being affected. And I said, given everything that like I described, like, what do you think should have been differently? What do you think management should have handled differently? And she was like, there's no way to know that. There's no way to know. All the factors are set. I was just like, at that point, I was like, okay, well, I guess it kind of triggers me, because one shift when we were understaffed and just like overworked, my coworker had a seizure on the floor and got carried out in a gurney. So this kind of reminds me of that. And that's like another story to tell at some point. But she was like, oh, that was a horrible situation, but we handled that. Kind of like a, how dare you bring that up? And I'm like, well, there's a lot of the same things that are not being addressed. Also, again, just as a hotel, it looks bad on you to have comped them over nothing, because you're kind of admitting a fault that wasn't there.
Yeah.
And like, regardless of me and my feelings, now y'all look dumb for no reason.
Yeah.
And you've lost so much money, because I'm sure that's not the only time they were comped. And it's like, also, I just want to say, for anyone who watched the video or anyone who's watching this hotel is about $500 a night. So trust when I say they should be able to pay a $35 per person brunch on one card or on a couple room numbers.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, you're catering to the people that are staying there. So, you know your clientele.
Exactly. And of course, again, the whole thing was like, I don't know. And then of course, anytime something goes viral on the internet, it kind of takes on a life of its own that it has almost nothing to do with you. And people got really into the comments about like, well, I live in this country and in that country we don't have to split. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like,
okay.
The problem is not just they asked me to do splits and it was difficult. The problem was they treated me like subhuman for an hour for no reason. That's the problem.
Yeah.
We're missing the point here if that's what everyone wants to talk about.
Exactly. And people that have never been in our situation as like food service members, they're not going to understand like our frustration and why we say what we're saying.
Right. And it's just a point where it's like, I know these people were antagonizing me and us because they could, and it really had nothing else to do with anything else. And I think the more you're in the service industry, you come across, you meet like hundreds of people per day. So you can read people instantly.
Yeah.
Like human psychology, you just learn it on another level. So it's like, there's a difference between people being frustrated because of a situation that like devolved and like wasn't good for them. And then the people who come in and like snap their fingers at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you can feel the difference right away.
No, definitely. Would you consider yourself a good server?
Yes.
Because the reason I say this is because in your TikTok, you mentioned that you had all these tables. And then on top of that, you had to take a table outside of your section and it was in a private room, right? So coming from me and my experience, like I've worked as a server, I've worked all the positions, like I said, I've been in management as well. So I know like who I can count on in that specific situation. I'm not going to give this table to some throwaway server who is barely starting or has no experience or somebody that I can't trust. So it's not like management can even come back at you and say, well, you know, it's your fault. Like, why didn't you take care of him? Like, we should have known better or whatever. Like, they put this table like on you and they put you in a situation. The least that they could have done was had your back.
Exactly. Especially given the context of like, you know, there were different times where the manager could have been like, hey, do you need help with something? Can I do something for you? Can I get something? At any time, anyone could have offered to help do something, and the other servers were running around, not them. Again, I said in the TikTok, also to clarify this, because it also gets confusing. So the area is 21 tables. So each section is 7 tables. So I guess minus the private dining room. But so if you have a full section, you have 7 tables going. And so we had one server assistant for the whole restaurant for 21 tables. So obviously she's not helping anyone. She's like running water out to the floor. She's polishing glasses. Also, I didn't say, because I just like didn't have time. In the middle of like all this going down, we ran out of knives before their meals came, and I had to go to the dish pit and polish 9 knives.
Gosh.
And it's like, I'm not even saying like, I just bring that up because it's like people also have no idea that a good server is going above and beyond, because I could have said, we ran out of knives, eat your breakfast without knives. Like, I could have said that. And many people do things like that where it's like, I can't be bothered. It's not my problem. And like, you know, why am I the only one like running food to a private, just all these things. And I just feel like I always try to make it apparent of like, I'm here to do my best. How can we do this together? And like, even during that shift, I had a couple whose anniversary it was, and I felt really bad for them because I hardly saw them, and they were really nice, and they kind of saw what was going on. But like, I was up there doing diner lady shit. You know, I get a new table and I'm like, hey, you know, they're like, how, you know, I'm like, how are you doing? They're like, good. How are you? I'm like, I'm rocking. I'm rolling. Can I get a drink? Are you ready for food? Like, you know, it's like,
you're on the go.
Which again, for the management, that's not luxury. That's
the stuff that they
cute.
just take for granted. Like, you're doing the Lord's work, and they're like, good for you. Keep it up. All right. I'll be in the office.
Right. So yeah, exactly. So like, it is an indictment on management for sure, because it's like, why are you hanging out? Yeah.
Yeah. How many managers did you have on that shift, or how many do you normally have?
So we normally have one, but since it's a hotel, sometimes they'll call up like the, you know, upstairs outlet to come down and do something. And when they do, we're really fucked if they need that help. But usually they're like running food or like bussing a table. Like, they're not. And here's the other thing. So the GM of the hotel, I had not met her because again, I was just really part-time, hadn't seen her before. And at one point, and I didn't know who she was. I thought maybe she was a different manager. I wasn't quite sure, but she was like, hey, do you need something? And I was like, please, yes. Can you please run this plate to this table number? And she's like, okay, where is that?
No.
Bitch.
Go home.
Why do I know more than the GM? Why do I know more than the GM?
Why are you asking for help if you can't help?
Exactly. Well, it's just like this embarrassing. This is the same area and the same table numbers for the dinner, like when it's dinner. And so it's like, for you not to know those table numbers and be the GM, straight to jail. That's so insane.
It's criminal.
That's so insane. And I think she's the one, actually, not my manager on the floor. I think she is the one who comped them, and I don't think she even like had any context about them and just like did it. But it was like, if I had stayed at that job and they didn't fire me, which would have never happened, I would have taken an HR complaint immediately to like, why does the GM not know a table number?
Yeah.
Like, what? The entire
valid.
Like,
that is valid.
Very valid.
So yeah, after a few days, I was kind of like, I want to see them fire me. Like, I want them to do their dumb HR corporate, make everyone keep talking about it. I don't know. And then I realized, okay, it actually probably is kind of still better for me in the long run if I quit before they fire me, just so that I'm technically haven't been fired or, you know, whatever the case. So then when that happened, they were like, yeah, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on an exit interview. Cause I mean, you saw on TikTok, I posted my email to them of like, second thought.
Yeah.
So that exit interview, I was anticipating them. I met with one HR woman. I thought she was going to have an attitude. I thought we were going to kind of rehash the incident, all these things. And she was really, really kind to me. And she didn't talk about anything about the incident. She was just like, what are your critiques for management? And I was like, how long do we have?
Yeah,
like,
literally. Take out your pen and paper.
Let me email you the list I got,
I should have followed up with an email. But it was just a lot of things because, people, of course, at those higher levels too, like they don't even know how ghetto this shit is.
No, for real.
Like, okay, here's a great example. I've said Micros is our system, which is just god awful. There's no fixing Micros, but like just little things of like, again, this hotel is $500 a night to stay at. And if you want like a couple of the menu items there's no buttons and I have to open food and write it in. So on their receipt, it's like a shorthand of what I wrote to the kitchen is what the item is. That's embarrassing.
That is embarrassing.
That's crazy. Why am I writing a novel? And we've brought these issues up so many times. Yeah. And which is why I was just, it's like for all of the roadblocks you throw in my way, and I still do a great job as to the best of my ability every time. And then for you to stab me in the back and make me look like a fucking idiot, like fuck you. Like that's crazy.
Oh yeah. Do you guys have a digital system like in the kitchen or is it all tickets?
It is digital in the kitchen. Up until a year ago, the tickets to the coffee bar wouldn't print and we would verbal all of them.
No.
That's fun.
And there was only one barista ever who could just like handle it because she was just really good at her job, which is also why there is no such thing as unskilled labor.
Yeah.
I would love to see someone get behind that coffee bar that, it's all about respect. That's why these things are so triggering because there is a certain sense of like satisfaction when a job like that is really hard and you're like, yeah, I bodied that. Like, I'm good at this. Yeah, I love talking to this many people. I got it all up here. Like, I have server hands. I can carry a million things. And you should be able to enjoy serving. There are so many parts of serving that are like truly enjoyable and like just scratch that itch in your brain, which is why when people just love to look at you like you're a servant or that you're so beneath them, that's when that shit goes off for me because it's like that's the problem.
Yeah,
this whole thing is giving me like PTSD. Like I'm just getting like remembering all the things that like have happened to me, and I'm just like, this is like she is hitting the nail on the head.
Everything. It's crazy. Like I said before, we could work at different ends of the country in different types of restaurants. Our issues and our feedback are all going to be like the same.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What do we do, guys? We unionize?
No, I know.
Now what's happening?
Have you ever worked for, how many different restaurants or corporations have you worked for?
This is actually, I think, the first I'm like trying to double check before I say that. I think this is the first place that like was a national chain. Like I think every other restaurant I worked for was like local individual owner. Yes. So that actually is the first one.
I say that because we come from Darden. So Cheddar's, have you heard of Cheddar's or like Olive Garden?
Yes.
And so we worked for Cheddar's, but I've also worked for Texas Roadhouse, Chili's, Chick-fil-A. And every single time, right now, when you said, like, when you asked management or when you asked HR, like, how could I have done this differently? For them to tell you, I'm sorry, like, it's hard to say, that's like a red flag. I think that because, like, for us in Darden, and like, we pride ourselves in like feedback, whether it's good or bad, like in any situation, you can have feedback. And so we would normally start our shifts like with a pre-shift or a post-shift. And so when it was a post-shift, it's normally after like a shit show of a day.
Right.
And we gather ourselves after a really shitty shift and we'll kind of like debrief and be like, okay, like, what went good? What went bad? What could we have done differently? We are very well aware of like what we could have done differently in any situation. So for corporate to kind of tell you like, no, that is kind of alarming.
It's crazy. No, that's actually, that's such a good point. I can't believe we've never done a post shift. And that was, I guess the other thing is like once that whole group of guests was gone, which took a while because they were in the lobby hanging out. But
they had to leave.
Because they were in a hurry. Girl.
They were in a hurry.
But no, once they were gone and I was like ready to like finally cash all my shit out again, I had to like recombine all those goddamn tickets for them to comp it. And I think this was like a commonly asked question too. So when they comped the bill, you know, it's put on the hotel. So they put in my 20% grat. So I did get the grat from the party. Obviously not like where it was $60. Like I would have rather like
all that trouble. Like you can keep your money.
Yeah.
And like it was one of those things where it had been such a long day. And I just wanted to like kind of be over with it and like play nice and like leave. And so like I kind of wanted to be like, you know, why didn't you do this? Or that wasn't cool, or, you know, something. And I was just like really trying to like grit through it and just like go. Cause that was really awkward. Cause she's like, you know, right there recombining these checks with me after like when she told me she comped them or that they were comped, my jaw dropped and I just like stared at her. Yeah. And that was kind of awkward, but so also when I went to do my exit interview, she was there on the floor because my exit interview was like in the lobby space.
Oh my gosh.
So
in person.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I had to give back like my fob and like all like my parking pass and all my stuff. And like get into my locker and my apron and my, you know, so
that's crazy.
That's wild.
So it was just crazy that like I passed her like 3 times and it was one of those things where we just like both pretended like we didn't see each other. But I was like, I probably made her life kind of hellish. So I was like, I kind of
understand.
And I was
she
like
did it to herself.
goodbye to a bunch of people. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I said, people came out of the woodwork from working together in the past and they told me all kinds of tea about how she was in a previous job, stuff about HR, the HR women that like I shouldn't know about, of them like hooking up with certain people. Like I was like, people were ready to unleash everything that they know to me.
You got to be careful with food service like team members because they are some of the most scorned people that know everything.
Exactly.
Messy, dude.
We know everything.
Yeah, we really do.
Like it's crazy.
It is. And that's when I guess the beginning of the next week is when I found out that I feel like I shouldn't say her exact title. I don't know. People still don't know where I work, but like one of the main, you know, directors was fired the same day, like right after my exit interview. And that it was partly because of the video and like how much negative feedback I had about upper management. And apparently the company that manages the hotel, she had been on their shit list for a while and people we didn't like her for a long time. She was super unhelpful. It was like, you know, if someone starts a job that they're super unqualified for and you're like, what the fuck is this? It was like that, but she never learned anything and like never changed. It was never helpful. And it was like 4 years later where we're like, dude, what are you doing?
No, like, how are you still here?
Absolutely not. No, for real.
People quit over her. Like people really did not like her. And so I got like a flood of like, you know, congrats, dude, like she's gone messages.
That's good. Thanking you for your due diligence.
Which is so crazy. But yeah, so like I said, it's just like things are just like continuing.
Yeah. That's awesome though. I don't know if I already asked you this, but at what point did you choose, like, I'm going to post this?
I think as soon as I got home, so I was actually dog sitting and that was like not my dog because I was dog sitting. But, you know, I think also is the fact that like I live with my boyfriend. So I normally tell him like how the shift was when I got home. And I think partly because I was dog sitting and like I had nobody around to tell. Plus how angry I was as soon as I got home. I didn't record it as soon as I got home, but I was like, I'm making this video and I just don't care. And if like 100 people see it and that's it, like,
then that's fine.
Cause for a long time I had kind of wanted to do like ServerTok stuff or whatever, but it's also like, I want TikTok to be about music and you're getting the brands confused and all the stuff. And I just like got to this point where I thought it was so crazy how everything unfolded. And I was so angry that I was like, I don't care that it's off brand. I don't care that it might not like be a good look for me. Like, I just don't care. I'm telling the story and I'm posting it. And when it posted, I still didn't have her Wi-Fi password. So like it took forever and I was just like watching it. And you know, it's like anything you post to the internet. Like I was afraid that like people were gonna like run me off the internet and hate me or like, you know, totally, which
you never know where it's gonna go.
I was really surprised that it's like 90% of the comments are like
positive. I didn't see any like negative ones.
Very few.
Yeah, whatever. Whenever you go through something at work and you're mad and you're in the moment, like you have like that whole car ride to decompress, but then the moment you get home and you talk about it with your significant other, it like a new fire burns in you and you're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I can't believe this happened.
Yeah. And then you start rethinking things like, did this really happen? Did they really say that? Did I really say that?
Yes, the gaslighting of yourself of like, well, maybe they weren't that cool. It's just partly why I was just like, this was so absurd that like, I can't let this go without having like nothing happening or like pretending like that was fine. And because I did not say anything in the moment, and because I did not say anything to my manager, that really lit the fire of like, I'm telling somebody something.
Yeah. Are they regulars there?
No. I think so. Oh, also part of the HR call, they were like, you violated guest confidentiality.
I heard,
because I said they were from Canada. They also basically confirmed, which I didn't know this, but HR basically confirmed that they were part of the Mary Kay conference.
Oh, there was a conference going on there?
Which I didn't even know, but some people have tagged me in individual people's videos, which is kind of unhinged, of the Mary Kay conference being like, is this her? And there's a few that actually do look like them, but I'm just like, I'd want to be 100% sure before I like lit that up. So I'm just going to say like, I'm not sure because I'm not, but I think a few people have tagged me in things and I'm like, it probably is.
That is crazy. Is there anything that you would say like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have in the moment, like working there? Is there anything that you wish that you could have like maybe done better or different?
Yes. I think from the moment they were complaining about the room was cold, the food was cold, I should have stood in that and like taken a beat and been like, your food was cold? Like you ate everything. Can you explain that? I really don't want that to be like, kind of like sit in that moment of everything they were saying.
Yeah.
And like taking it in, and instead
kind of like baby them. Almost.
You have to.
And be like, what? I'm so sorry. You should have like let me know earlier. I would have loved to fix it for you. Right. And then kind of like throw it back and like, bitch, you fucking ate it all.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I really wish I would have slow rolled that the whole conversation of them complaining a little bit, and kind of pushed back in the sense of like, you know, which I did say to them later of like, put your order in within 5 minutes of you giving that to me.
Good.
I don't control the kitchen. I did say that when they were up there, but before it got to that point, I wish I would have said, you know, let's pause. I can't control the room. That's not a reason you can be upset at me. I wouldn't have said it that way, but like I would have said something to that effect. Yeah. Then I would have been like, I'm sorry, like why didn't you mention if your food was cold when I checked back in and I got you the 2 extra ketchups you didn't touch?
Yeah.
You know, why didn't you, you know, the food is gone. Unfortunately, we don't typically comp food that's been fully eaten.
Yeah.
Like I wish I would have taken that moment because I don't know, I was kind of like trying to rush through the interaction so that I could put it in my manager's court to be like, okay, kind of just hearing a lot of things. I'm going to go talk to her. And then not anticipating her being like, I thought she was going to go talk to them.
I was going to say, did your manager not go at all?
Nope.
What'd I tell you? What did I tell you?
Dude.
What? We were just,
never showed her face.
I would have gotten my ass chewed if I didn't go talk to a table.
You were fixing your problem.
Which also to her, I should have taken it because I was so like still in a rush. My mind is racing. I'm like trying to kind of get shit like over with and paid for and just done and out. But even with the manager, I should have taken a beat and been like, you told me to tell them 3 ways. You go tell them you've changed your mind.
Yes. Yes. Literally, yes.
I should have said that. So those are my regrets is like, I should have like just taken a second to breathe and like slowly repeated things back to people that they were saying instead of just kind of taking it and been like, how fast can I get this over with so that they're gone? Because then again, that's almost like this admission of guilt that didn't exist.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, when you're polite, but you're slow about it, it kind of shows them how ridiculous they sound.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, I'm sorry, the food was cold, but you didn't say anything and you ate it all.
Who's lying here?
Yeah.
100%.
And especially as like, you know, I'm sure some of the other women, maybe some of them were embarrassed to be, you know, with the people who were the loudest. Maybe they were. I'm not sure.
That's a
But it's
question
like if I had stopped.
Was it all of them that complained, or was it just like a certain, like a few out of all of them?
So the 3 women who came first, the woman at the head of the table, especially those 3 that came first, were a little bit like the ringleaders. And the ones that came later were kinder, but they all had this air of like for some of their coffees, it was like milk and not cream. So as soon as I set it down, she's like, milk. And I'm like, yeah, bitch, it's fucking milk.
Oh my God.
You know, like that attitude was present the whole time.
I cannot deal with that.
We're also like, you know, again, I'm running around, things are busy, and she's like, extra hot, 1 shot, it has to be 1 shot, blah, 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 blah. Like they all had this air of like, which is
entitlement,
and which is why I stated so many times in the video that like I never made a mistake, because you know the type of people, they would have lost their shit if it was like, oh, I think this might have been a double latte. I gotta go take it back. I gotta check. They gotta remake it. Like, and that wouldn't even be that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Like, that would be an understandable mistake for someone in the weeds to make, or anybody to make. Even when you're going as fast as you can, anyone could have made that mistake, or any simple, slow mistake, which is why I repeated it so much of like, there was literally nothing like incorrect, or we had to remake, or I heard it wrong, or whatever. Like everything was what you wanted as you wanted it in a reasonable time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, the manager never coming out to talk to them is crazy.
I think that's what hurt like their overall experience. And that's not even your fault.
Right.
Like management made it like 10 times worse by not doing anything.
Yeah, well, and it's just crazy. It's like they made it literally an impossible situation. And with fucking Jill calling them and doing all this, it's like you could tell in the call they're still like pandering to her, where it's like, dude, like if you want me to burn this place down, like I could have, the first video, if I'm going to go out, I could have said the name, I could have given names, like I could have
You were so respectful.
I really could have gone off on it. And it's just like, I guess for them to still kind of put it in the light as like, I'm the problem.
Yeah.
That's where you're delusional. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
100%.
No. It's crazy because you're completely right. Like you did not say anything. You didn't mention, you didn't have photos. You didn't give like details. All you did was give TikTok a rundown of what happened at work today without saying like names or anything. And it's crazy because I know how toxic like corporations can be. HR like at Cheddar's and Darden is very much like that. Like they can be very in your face about like, don't post on social media, mainly more to like management and like leadership. But when it comes to team members, you can't control them. Like you cannot, like that is one thing that like grinds my gears. You cannot, they are not your slaves. They are not your like possession. They work for you, but you cannot dictate what happens outside of like this job in those 4 walls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
period.
It makes me so upset. Did you ever see that video? And we referenced it last week on the episode. There was a TikTok and it was at Cheddar's.
Okay.
Oh,
of the CA line. Of like the kid, like, so there was a CA, like the guy that was doing expo. I don't know what happened. He completely like lost his mind and just started chucking things back at the kitchen. It was insane. It was towards the end of the night.
Oh my God.
It was towards the end of the night. They had to close the restaurant down. They had to like close the doors. Everyone who was like waiting, like they had to turn them away. They had to knock everything down because there was broken glass everywhere. They had to knock everything down.
Was the police called? Like, the fuck?
I think they were. They were called because he wasn't leaving. And so...
That's scary.
Yeah. And so he threw stuff. They had to break down the entire kitchen line, clean, reset to give the guests that were waiting for their food. It was truly insane. This kid, I don't know how one of the team members got a hold of the video through the camera system, because there are camera systems in the office. So normally, like, I've done this before and I'm guilty of it. Whenever I would slip and fall, or whenever something like unhinged would happen, I would go to the cameras, clock it, and I would record it, and I would like give my little Cheddar's Chronicles. This kid, I don't know how he got a hold of like the video of it, and he posted it on TikTok and it went viral. HR then reached out to them and they said, hey, like you need to take it down, blah, blah, blah. That I understand. Like you're getting, like this is not your property.
Yeah.
But you did nothing of that.
I'm literally in a room in a house.
Yeah.
Saying an anonymous story.
Yeah. For all we could have known, it could not have been true.
Right. I could have been making the whole thing up. Yeah, and I also wanted to clarify the pastries thing. So we have a coffee bar, which is where if anyone orders coffee like at a table, it's coming from there, but it's also like to go. You walk up and you get a pastry and you leave. So they didn't get any pastries or anything while they were seated, but on their way out, because again, they were like literally like kind of harassing me like while I was at the top POS system to like get them out of here and get them to sign. So once they just decided they were done pretending to pay, they turned and left and like I guess caught the GM on the way out, and I don't know what they said. I was like, I have to walk away before I say some shit, and I did. And I think that's when the manager told me they got comped or whatever. And I turned around and like 5 minutes later, I'm seeing them standing at the coffee bar, which was like, which was confusing, right? Because I was like, I thought you were in a motherfucking hurry, but the coffee bar was like handing them a bunch of bags of pastries. And that's when I was like, that was the closest I've ever been to like, I might start saying some shit. I might start talking. I don't know. And then they sat in the lobby for a long time. And I know that because what my next move was I want to go to front desk after they leave and ask them exactly what they said about me. Which I did, but
what did they say?
I had to wait like a while because they weren't gone yet. And it just, dude, it kills me so much that it's like one of their number one complaints, again, like to front desk, to me, was that they thought the room was cold. Why is that a reason you're getting your food for free? What does that have to do with me?
Anything.
Why is that a complaint? What are you
Come prepared.
Bro, the amount of times that people said that at Cheddar's, I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, I can't control the thermostat and it was like, it had to be cold because as we had, is it marble floors? Is that what we had?
Mm-hmm.
We had marble
like some
floors.
type of floors.
It's like, if it's hot, it's literally a slip and slide. So like people are constantly complaining every single day. I'm too cold. Can you turn the temperature down? I'm like, no, I can't control the restaurant. Like if you know, like, and the thing is, it'd be one thing if it was like a one-time thing, but these are like repeat guests. I'm like, it is cold.
That's the temperature of the place.
Like exactly. Like you know it's cold. So how about instead of complaining every single time you come, you bring a jacket.
You come prepared.
Thank you.
Well, it was just like that. That's how you know literally nothing was wrong with your service at any time if your number one complaint was that the room was cold. Like,
they couldn't complain about anything. They could not pick anything. So they're gonna pick something that is out of everyone's fucking control and like double down on that shit.
And then that's when I think and then they said something about like, it took an hour, like it took however long from when and I remember the front desk girl saying, I don't remember exactly. It's something about like the timing of when they came in. She was like, I knew that they were lying when they also started out with like, and it took, 30 minutes to get, like, she was just like, I just know based on what time they came in and the way, like, she was like, the math doesn't even add up.
Yeah. They think that we're fucking stupid. I hate that. Like, their math does not even, like, make any fucking sense.
It doesn't
Like, we waited a fucking hour. That's funny, because at an hour ago, you were walking in these fucking doors. So what do you mean you were waiting for an hour for your food?
And there's so many people in the comments which had a good point of, like, I can't believe they let them as an incomplete party sit, or, like, less than half.
Yes.
Like, I can't believe that. And I agree with that in theory, but I guess it's, like, I'm so used to this place caving in ridiculous ways to literally what anybody wants that I'm like, of course they would see an incomplete party because these people they're going to have a meltdown. Like they're going to turn into a puddle if you don't sit them the fuck down. And I get that. There's no point in arguing with someone for 30 minutes about if they should sit or not. Just fucking put them in a chair and let's do this thing. Like I get that, but it's like, but I guess it's like, that is the level of like, just like caving that it knows no boundaries in this. And which also is what pissed me off is like, when I left that shift that day, I was like, there's barbecue places in town that would have put stricter rules on them than us. And like our entrees are like between $20 and $36 for breakfast. Like, what are we doing, dude?
Yeah. No, yeah. Who's in charge here?
Not that one girl.
Not that one manager.
She don't know what's going on.
Don't call her.
She's like, what table? Where?
Oh my gosh. How close are you to downtown? Like, what kind of area is the hotel in?
It's definitely downtown.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're busy all the time. It's not like...
Yeah, it was pretty busy all the time, I would say. I mean, there was always slow weekends, but from the beginning of the year till now, it was very busy. Like every single shift was like crazy. Yeah. So
is there anything else that you like left out or didn't like speak on like in the video about like what happened that day?
The two things that came to mind, I kind of already mentioned of like, I had to polish 7 knives or 9 knives or whatever, which is literally crazy that I had to do. I should have just been like, sorry, we're out of knives.
Yeah.
Which again is the point of saying that is like servers do all kinds of shit for you when they care that they don't have to do. So if somebody looks like they're trying, trust me, they're doing more than you would think they are. Yep. And also that there was another table who didn't even see most of this go down because they weren't in the private room, and they stood up and they stopped me and they were like, that was crazy. Are you okay? They look psycho. Gosh. What happened? Are you good? And it's like, you know how crazy shit has to be
for other people,
for someone to stop you and say that?
Other people, another guest to be like, are you good? Like, it'd be different if it was like, oh, another coworker, like, damn, bro, I just saw what happened. Like, I understand. But for a guest to be like, are you good? Like, these people were psycho. Like, do you need a moment? That's crazy.
I know. That's telling. I love guests like that when they'll kind of like step in and they'll be like, okay, no, they're fucking wrong, and like, don't even worry about it. And they have your back. It's telling.
And that's happened a couple times when I had worked there, because some of the tables in the section are like, pretty close together. I remember serving a guy who was kind of an asshole, but like I just didn't really even clock it, to be honest. I was just like, whatever. And then like a table like behind me or whatever was like the worst table ever. And I was like, oh my God, where? Like, that's crazy. And she was like, no, that guy. And I was like, oh yeah he is kind of rude. I
was like, yeah.
Well, I didn't say that till he left.
Yeah. Oh my God. What have your coworkers, since the whole situation, since you leaving, what have they said? Like, did management ever like acknowledge it to them? Did they do like a mass like meeting?
Probably not. I know, like I said, the breakfast manager probably hates me and will just never talk again. Not sure what her thoughts are. My coworkers, one of my coworkers was like, we had already talked and she was like, this is kind of cool and I'm proud of you. And she sent me a big long text that was like, hey, like I really liked how you talked in the video. That was not talking down towards the profession of serving or not demeaning it or being like, never have to do that stupid job or, that's not even a real job, or like that I didn't say anything like that and was like trying to really like stand up for the people in hospitality. And I was like, yeah, because I believe that. Because like I said, like I think it's can be a really fun and rewarding job. And, there's also, of course, people in the comments who are just like, sounds like this isn't the industry for you. And it's like,
oh my God, bitch, if you only knew.
First of all, that.
Like, clock in for one shift, just one. Clock in for one shift, and we'll talk after.
Literally that. And also, it's just like, you can't just have that knee-jerk reaction when anyone complains about a shift. Like, someone has to work in a restaurant, and hopefully there are people who are fucking good at it. I'm fucking good at it. The money's great. That shouldn't have to be the answer. The answer should be like, customers don't get to be shitty and have no consequences.
You can't get it your fucking way.
That's like what I want the message and the tagline is like, it's not always that like public shame or karma will for sure, happen, but it's like, y'all can't be acting crazy like this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we're all people. This is a respectable job, a respectable industry. Would love to see you fucking try. And I should be allowed to enjoy it. People should be allowed to enjoy being in the service industry and not have it be a shitty time. Doesn't have to be a shitty time. Absolutely. Y'all just have to like act right.
Yeah. I have had guests that have been just so scared to like even say anything to me or tell me that something happened with their plate because they're so afraid that we're going to do something to their food in the back. And I'm like, no, like, tell me.
I don't think
you don't want them to be like crippled
that,
either.
Like, I know it's a joke, but I think the only people who tell that joke have never been servers. Like, literally no one's done that. Like, I don't even.
Yeah.
No one's going to lose their job over an annoying table. Like, I'm sorry. It's just not the reality of things.
Right.
And I think that even like our line cooks would have some type of integrity to not do that shit. Like, you can be who you are outside of the restaurant or outside of those 4 walls, and they can do whatever shit they want to do outside. But when you come in, I think people take pride in being a line cook.
Absolutely.
They do. So they're not going to not have integrity when it comes to something like that. And I think people who are outside as guests don't see that. They think like, oh, this is just their job. It's just something that pays their bills. Like, no, bitch. A lot. If you've heard that saying that like those who can't like teach or whatever, like those who can't, they're in the service industry. Like, there's so many people that have made this an actual career. It's one of the easiest types of occupation that you can easily make into career and like move up and do so many things. And I think people don't see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So corporate. So because your restaurant's attached to the hotel, is it all one? So is this hotel your corporate? Like they're the ones that you answer to. So like if it were a Hilton hotel, is it like a Hilton or like Marriott?
Yeah.
Do you answer to Marriott?
I guess so. Like I think if I had been fired, isn't it a rule or something that you're like banned from working at those properties? I'm not sure, to be honest. That could be false, but that's partly why I was like, I guess I'll quit just in case I ever.
Yeah.
Like if that's even a thing, I'm not entirely sure. But
isn't it like up to the GM? Because I know you said for isn't it cheddar like that? Like you're marked as non-rehirable.
Yeah, non-rehirable. It depends on how like grave the situation was. It's not like you.
Yeah.
It's not like you stole. It's not like you were drinking on the job.
Right.
Yes, Max.
You made a video. And people need to like be careful because nowadays it's so easy for your server to kind of just pick up their phone and like rant about you on the internet.
Dude,
and people don't realize that. And then they want to sit there and play the victim and be like, she broke confidentiality. Bitch, I didn't sign anything.
Right. Yeah, I didn't sign an NDA. Also, like, she came into my comments. I'm sorry you got ratioed. Don't act stupid. I don't know.
No. Yeah, that part. Like, did she not read the other comments?
Girl.
It'd be different if the comments were coming for you and she couldn't like actually stand.
Delusional.
No, for real.
She really thought she ate with that shit. And I think people was like, no, she's definitely real when she deleted the comment. That's how we know it was real.
Yeah. When I was like recording here and I was like telling Manny like, oh look, this girl like she responded to Teagan's video. When I opened I was like, oh, the comment's not there.
That speaks volumes of
the video stays.
Yeah. That spoke volumes.
I really hope that all the women of the table saw it. That's what I hope. Yeah. I hope she didn't keep it to herself.
I'm sure if they're going to make a whole like corporate scene out of it and like call corporate. And then the one thing that your manager did to like avoid them to do, she still ended up doing. She comped their ticket so that they wouldn't have to go to corporate.
Now they had an investigation.
Oh my gosh.
Supposedly.
Some people are so dedicated to like get free things. It's insane to me how dedicated some motherfuckers are to get free shit.
Some of the comments were so funny. It was like, Jill, if you're broke, like I can give you a soup kitchen number. Like just say that. If you can't afford brunch, just say that.
Oh my God. Unhinged. People don't be giving a fuck. Like they don't.
Oh, and I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
If you're broke, just
I think that people like us, the hospitality industry, like it doesn't matter where you are in the country, outside the country, across the country in a different state, we will stand together.
Yeah, we're all on the same shift somehow.
Yeah, we are.
The same fucking managers with the same side work.
No, for real.
The same dish pit.
Absolutely.
Like, it's one mega restaurant.
Oh, really?
My dream for all of this bullshit is to build an audience of ServerTok and server stories and to someday get on Bistro Huddy. That's my dream.
What's that?
Girl, Drew Talbert, Bistro Huddy?
Nani, what is that? I'm like ever since I've had a baby, I'm so done.
Okay, so Drew Talbert, he has millions of followers and he's on TikTok. It's under Drew Talbert, but basically he did what I imagined doing, but I couldn't have figured out the way he did it. He basically created a TV show where he plays all the characters in wigs and costumes and green screen, but like it's so convincing. And it's like 2-minute episodes and it's Bistro Huddy and it's like he plays like the whole like the line, all the different servers, the manager, the customers, and it's so good. Like the production value is crazy. It's
insane.
Each episode is like millions of views and it's like the closest it has come. Cause I was always like, why is there not like a restaurant sitcom?
Yeah.
Why has there never been a workplace comedy of a restaurant like The Office or like Parks and Rec or whatever?
That's so true.
The drama's built in. Like
it's so easy. It's right
perfect
there.
Episodic content, and he did it no network for free. He has millions of followers. So everyone has to go watch Bistro Huddy.
Definitely.
And my dream is to, I don't know, meet him, co-write on an episode or something, or like to get on Bistro Huddy. So
maybe I
that's my
have
dream.
seen some of his stuff.
You probably have.
I think we have. It's just I don't think we've seen like a whole episode. It's just like the little bits and pieces.
No, but that is the whole episode.
Oh,
but it's
but short form content.
Yeah, but like some things are like recurring. Of like some things are like a multi-part story, but not everything is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
It's a gold mine.
How has your life changed since your video going viral? You quit your job.
I quit my job. I reconnected with a bunch of coworkers. I got this higher up manager fired. That we talked about. And then I guess my last tidbit, which I don't know, hopefully is not like has to be like a secret. No, it doesn't. Is that I don't know if you noticed that Brittany Spencer commented.
I did.
She is a rising country artist. She is on Beyonce's Cowboy Carter album. We are writing a server anthem together at Warner Chappell Publishing House on Monday.
This Monday?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh. And when will it be out?
First we got to write something and she has to love it. And
I saw that.
What I mean? I don't know. Who knows? She commented, I did a video back, then I DM'd her, and that was my moonshot. That was like I guess I'm gonna DM, all she can say is no or ghost me, but that was, and she was really down. She was like, I've been there, like I get it. There's energy around this, like people.
I saw her comment. I was like, fuck yeah.
So things have actually changed a lot for the better. I could not have anticipated
such a good
number one, this big of a response, like in general, and then also for things to be so good. And like, it's like the positive karma, I guess, from it. I don't know.
No, definitely. Like they thought they were going to make like your life a living hell. And look at what it did for you. It did the opposite of that.
Yeah. Quit your job and post shit. No, just kidding.
No, for real. I'm so happy for you. That's so awesome. So what were you doing since you said that this was part-time for you? What else were you doing? You were just focusing on your music?
No, I have an admin job. Like I have a full-time day job. And so this was just like my weekend job for a long time.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
Bye.
No, exactly.
Yep.
Taking that video down, my ass.
No, yeah, fuck no. What are you going to do? Pay my bills?
Yeah.
No. For them, no. And that's what I was going to say. Like, at the end of the day, they're not looking out for you. They're always going to turn around and have to cover their brand because when they're gone and either they step away from the position, what's it to them? They're not going to care.
I think they would have had me take it down and then been like, unfortunately, the results of our investigation are that you're fired.
Fuck no. I'm glad you did not take it down.
Good on you.
And I did feel the pressure like the first day, just like in the moment, and like I've never been in this kind of position where I'm being like asked specifically or I'm made to feel like I'm breaking rules. It's like I'm not really,
or that you're in the wrong.
Right. I'm not really in this position a lot. So I did feel that pressure. And there was like a day where I was just like really like heightened and I was just like, I don't know what to do. And I have to call a bunch of people and I need to get advice and maybe I'll archive it. And I don't know. And I let it sit for a day. And then I was like, yeah, fuck that.
Fuck no. What did your parents say? Your family?
Oh,
I did not tell. My dad is on, he has a TikTok account, but he's not like really on it. My mom does not have a TikTok account. And I knew I did not want to tell her about it. Maybe at all, but unless I really had to. But when I got the call from HR, I was like, oh, I guess I'll tell my mom about this. But she is so anti curse words. So she's so, and so I don't even think she watched it. Maybe she did, but she was like, you should have not said a lot of things that you said. And I was like, okay, but that's partly what made it funny. And that's partly what made it authentic. And,
you're welcome.
And also I was angry. So I was like, I don't think it would have done 5 million views without me calling them fuck ass hoes. I just don't
know.
think.
For real. Like, sorry, Mom.
It
could have been a lot worse.
And then she was like, well, just like make sure they don't sue you. I'm like, Mom, it's really okay. It's really fine.
How cute.
That's so adorable.
Do you have any siblings?
I have a brother. I think he was just like, yeah, cool. I don't know. Like,
that's a brother for you.
Older or younger?
Exactly. Older.
And what did your boyfriend say?
Well, so then I posted this video that was like, like confronting my boyfriend because everyone has, 5 million people have seen me crash out and he hasn't seen the video yet. He still hasn't watched it, but he was like, now I've heard you talk about it. Like I've heard the story
so many times and I have no context or reference.
So then someone had commented like full reaction video and I was like, that's a free, easy, like low strategy content idea. I'll just film him watching the video.
Yeah.
But now it's like, maybe we will, but now it's like been so long that it's like, I really think he has the full story. Like it's not really going to be as of a surprise as much.
Yeah.
But no, he's also like, this is great. Like, how do I, he has a best friend named Elijah who, if anyone's listening to this might be like, wow, this is crazy. His TikTok is Elijah Laughs and he has like maybe, I don't know how many followers, maybe 500,000 or something, but he does skits where he's like the man-child husband or like the creepy manager and they're all skits, but he does them very well and they look.
Yeah.
So he was messaging me right away and was like, hey, these are my tips about TikTok. Like it seems like you got like a storyteller thing going on where you do minimal edits, like that kind of works for you. Your hook was perfect. Maybe try this, maybe try this. And I've kind of like dragged my feet on posting. I was literally up one night, like for hours, replaying in my head all the stories. It all came back to me, like all the crazy stories I have. And then there's part of me that's like, number one, I'm afraid of kind of blowing it on a story that's really good and that I failed to tell it as good or like have that hook or juicy, whatever. But then two, which this is a dumb like fear to have, but then it's like, oh my God, like what about when I run out of stories? And that's like, then life goes on and hopefully I'm still a good storyteller. But it was definitely the first time that I got a lot of attention on TikTok in a way that was fun, sustainable, something I can like really put myself behind. Cause I went viral two other times. One was a couple years ago when I was kind of dunking on the Selena Gomez documentary, which like half the people in the comments were like, fuck you. And then half the people were like, no, she has a point. So, and then I was like, I don't really want my thing to be like celebrity commentating. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really want to do this content. And then the other time was a couple months ago where I was like doing a grammar correction on screen, which ended up being very controversial because apparently in British English, it's like correct, but in American English, it's wrong. But again, that's like, I can't do that again. Like, I don't care, like none of this. So this is the first time I'm like, oh, this is fun for me. I have a lot to say. I think it's like a net positive. Like, I'm not just trying to get attention just to get attention. Like, it's kind of building
you have a background.
Positive.
Yeah. And you have like a leg to stand on when you're saying these things.
Yeah.
You've worked the positions.
Exactly. And part of me is like, I've seen enough people grow and change on TikTok that I'm no longer worried about like, well, what about music or how does it connect to music? Because I think if this had happened to me a couple years ago, I would have immediately tried to transition the attention that was on me to music. And that probably would have flopped because that's kind of salesy, that's inauthentic, like it's kind of awkward. You know what I mean? Like, not that you can never talk about it, but like, I think I would have done that. But now that I've kind of just been on TikTok as a viewer long enough, I know that like people can kind of grow and change. And as long as people are on board for you, like that's just not something I'm going to worry about right now.
Yeah.
No. Like that'll be a later thing. I have server stories to tell right now. And that's what I
exactly. And hone in on that because that's what works for you. Yeah. How did you gain a following on your TikTok because of it?
I started out with 1,200 followers when I posted this video and I hit 10,000 in like a week and a half.
Wow.
Which 10,000 is when the creator fund opens up and you can like monetize your shit.
Good.
That's awesome.
So I haven't like seen $1 from that yet because I haven't, been doing too much yet. But yeah, I basically went from nothing to creator fund and 10,000 followers like to start.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. So
that's awesome.
If you follow
I'm so happy for
thank
you. Yeah, definitely. And how is it going like with your music career? Are you going to like hone in on that now too?
Yeah. I mean, I've been songwriting like crazy for the past couple of years. I mean, for a while, but really in the last like 2 years, I'm writing like multiple nights a week. I think all of my collaborators, like I can feel I'm hitting the next level. I've had a few publisher meetings, but sometimes it kind of feels like, hurry up and wait. Like you never know. And a lot of people in my circles, I've been watching people just get signed and get closer and closer to like getting on a cool tour and having this pop off and that. And like, I finally feel the momentum just kind of in all areas, I guess, like building. Cause I think even this time last year, I was just like, in that, like what am I doing? Like things are not moving. And there just kind of is this feeling for me of like things aligning and like starting to move in a way they were not before. Cause even this
That's
right with
good.
Brittany, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we don't write a song she loves. Who knows? I can't get ahead of that, but I'm still going to get to know her. I'm still going to be in that room. I'm still, so it's like things are still moving.
It's a foot in the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is going to be like, it's all going to go up from here for sure.
All because I popped off on TikTok.
Yeah. But that's how a lot of people have like gotten their in though. Like,
yeah.
Thank God we have TikTok for people like you, for people not only to share their story, but it's a stepping stone to something greater for everyone.
Yeah. And I think people share this sentiment a lot where it's like, it's kind of when you finally quit and give up is like when shit happens, because that's like your most authentic self. And that's kind of true of like when you're holding on too tight, when I'm like, I'm really trying to like make this music persona work, or I'm really trying to do this. I would have never wanted to post a video like that because it's too much or it's too whatever. And it's only when you finally say like, fuck this, I don't care, is when the authenticity
most genuine
hits and people connect to it, and then shit moves.
Yeah.
But it's
and that's
like,
what happened.
It's one of those things where it's like, you can't fake give up. You kind of have to actually surrender and like fully
let it go. I'm so happy for you. Truly, truly.
Well, thank you for having me on. And I think it's so cool that you guys do this podcast. Of course, I listened to that like full episode, and
thank you.
I love your logo. Like, it's really cool that you're doing this.
Thank you. It's a very small startup, so we're also kind of like in the trenches right now, but we've had like some of our friends come on and just kind of give their story. But this is actually different because, like I said, it's happening in real time, and the stories that we've shared are stories from our past, like several years ago, and we're just kind of retelling them. But for you, it was very much like in the thick of it happening. So I was like, this is like perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm so thankful for you, like, to come on to our show.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm definitely, we're going to blast it to the 10,000 new followers. Hopefully they see it and they'll tune in.
I've been listening to your music. You gained a fan.
Yay!
So I've been streaming you.
Cool.
No, definitely. You have a great voice, and I'm so excited for everything that's going to happen like from here on out.
Thank you. Yeah, I've a good feeling. So
no, for real. But where can we listen to your music? Where can we find you? Like, give us an unshamed plug.
Yeah, everything is Teagan Stewart music. So if you want to watch that original TikTok, if you haven't yet, it's pinned. Also made a playlist that's called Nashville Brunch Saga.
Okay.
So you're gonna listen to all the videos. And yeah, so that's my handle on everything. Teagan Stewart music. I'm sure you'll see it in the title, but it's TEAGAN STEWART. And I have a 6-song EP. I have a bunch of singles. I have music videos. I've got a lot to dive into.
No, you do. And I'm hoping that this won't be the last time we have you on the podcast.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to come
Do you think that you're done with the hospitality industry?
I can't be, because then I run out of stories and it's too much fun.
That's true.
It's too much fun. I'm sorry. I have too good of a time.
Yeah.
My mom is definitely anti me being in the service industry, because she's like, you take on the negative energy, like it's not good, blah, blah, blah.
Aww.
And I hear what you're saying. I hear what she's saying, but do it for the plot.
Exactly. Someone has to do it. Might as well be me.
It's gonna be. So, and actually, people have offered me jobs.
What?
Dude, people have Venmoed me money, and I made it clear I got tipped from this. So I never wanted people to tip me thinking that they were making up for that tip. But I think I paid an electric bill off that. So.
That's awesome. Thank you to all the generous listeners.
Yes.
We appreciate you. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so thankful for you once again.
This was so cool. I'm gonna send all my former coworkers are gonna listen to this. So
I love that. Yeah. And then if you think of anything else that we can always have another like episode in the future, you're more than welcome to come.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much for giving us the time of day. And this won't be the last time.
Definitely not.
What an interview, right, babe?
Yes, that was definitely fun.
We had a lot of fun with Teagan. If you guys haven't already, go follow her on social media at Teagan Stewart Music. She has some bangers out there. She has a new single out called Boys Club. She dropped it at the beginning of the year. But another one of my personal favorites is Country Deal Breaker. It's a great throwback song. So if you guys haven't already, go check her out. Go follow her. She has some great things coming up. Like she said, she quit her job. She said, you know what? I'm going to and that's the thing that I love about it. She took her job and she put it in her hand, like in her own hands. And she's like, you know what? I've been in that position too. I'm going to quit before they fire me. And so it's just, yeah, I think that she did everything the right way. She went about it like the completely right way. I still to this day don't think that she did anything or she wasn't in the wrong. But if you don't agree with us, go argue with your mama. Don't argue with us in the comments. If you do agree with us and you stand with her, let us know what you think in the comments. Do all the podcast things, like, share, comment, subscribe. Share this episode with somebody that you love, somebody in the food service industry, because I promise you, we can all relate to something similar. So we hope you guys had a great weekend. We hope that today is a great start to your Monday. Kick it off. Like I said, send this episode to somebody that you love. Pop off in the comment section. Let us know where you're listening from. If you can relate to something that Teagan said, that either me or Manny said, let us know what that is in the comments. If you have any crazy stories, don't forget to send them our way. We'd love to retell them on a future episode. But for now, I think we're ready to clock out. Let's enjoy this beautiful weekend. It's Father's Day. And yeah, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And don't forget to clock out.
We'll see you next week, foodies.